Hello everyone, hi.
Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around someone.
Welcome back to my channel. We are doing a mid-month wrap-up. I've done my intro all wrong. Hi, my name is Tamika. How's it going? This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. That's a box with presents in it. We are in front of my Christmas tree that is not decorated still. I've just come to the conclusion this year it's not getting decorated. It's just got a couple ornaments on it. It's got lights and a reindeer on the top, and that's literally all we got, and we got a skeleton over here. So we're living the high life in this household, and now Dallas said he's coming over to come say hi. I have a suitcase beside me. We're doing good. Hi, we're gonna do my mid-month wrap-up. We didn't do a mid-month last month, and we really don't have enough books to do a mid-month this month, but I'm really hoping that I can read a good chunk in the next half of the month, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap up the 4 books that I've read. That way I can just get them out of the way, and I have to talk about them again in the next wrap-up, except to like just mention them very quickly. So let's talk about the books. We are ahead of the game. Remember that 200 books I said I was gonna read? Yeah, definitely gonna hit that. Definitely am not still under 180. So let's talk about the manga I've read. If you've been following Vlogmas, you've been following the reading that I've been doing this month. So first of all, we have read Blood on the Tracks Volume 7. I really intended to read a lot of manga this month, but I can't find my iPad, which is a dilemma. I don't know where that thing's at. And you all know I'm not really staying at my house a lot right now. So taking physical manga just really hasn't been working. So my manga reading's been slower because I have an absolute clue where that iPad is. Don't know. Couldn't tell you. It's somewhere in my house. I'll find it eventually. But I have not been reading a lot of manga, but I did read Blood on the Tracks Volume 7. So, Blood on the Tracks Volume 7 is a continuation of the series Blood on the Tracks. Obviously, I think I've said that 15 times now. And this is a series following a son and a mother, and they have a very unhealthy, abusive, toxic kind of relationship. Essentially, the mother is super abusive towards her son and is absolutely unnecessarily cruel to him in ways that you don't really anticipate. Like, there is a lot of manipulation in here. Like, you definitely see the typical overbearing parent situation, but like, she manipulates him in very odd ways and forces him into situations he's not comfortable with. She does choke him at one point in the series. This series is not super scary or gruesome. It's way more a psychological thriller type of situation. I love it. It is one of my favorite series of all time. Honestly, I absolutely adore this series, and I'm so happy that I finally started reading it. I absolutely adore it, and this installment was fantastic. I gave this one a 5-star because this series is just top notch, and I love it so much that I just love it so much. I can't say enough good things about Blood on the Tracks. Like, if you've not read this series, this is a series you have to get to. Like, it is fantastic. So then I also read another book. Actually, we're gonna talk about 2 books that I was gonna do for a video. That video got canceled. You'll understand why I'm doing this in this part. So we're gonna add 2 more books on. I read 2 Christmas books last month that I was going to do a secret TBR for. The Christmas Obsession, and then second book in the Reindeer Fall series. The second book was If You Give a Jerk a Gingerbread. So I gave the Christmas Obsession 2.5, 3 stars. It was fine. It just didn't really work for me necessarily. It wasn't that steamy. It wasn't that steamy in that regard, and like, it just didn't feel that taboo for me. Like, it just didn't work for me in particular. It was very forgettable. I think I had a full clip where I talked about it, but again, I have canceled that video. So I read that. It was there. It was part of the books that I read last month that was supposed to be wrapped up this month, so we're just gonna wrap it up now. Then I also read If You Give a Jerk a Gingerbread, which was a 4-star read, and I absolutely loved this series, and I loved continuing the series. The problem was it was not steamy. Like, it was not a steamy book. Like, the point of the video I was doing was it was a steamy romance novella kind of thing. Like, with steamy romances, steamy Christmas romances. And this one just didn't work for that category because it wasn't a steamy romance, right? Like, it was a very sweet, wholesome kind of situation where we have Ginger, who is one of the 3 sisters we're following. So we have Noelle, Ginger, and Holly. And Ginger is the baker. She's in a baking competition with this other dude who's like a famous baker or whatever. And like, she's competing with him. It's very cute, very adorable. They have a very instant connection, and it's very, very precious. I just highly enjoy the series. They did have an insta-love situation, but the author did pull it off so that they worked together pretty closely before they actually had a relationship, which was fantastic, and I enjoyed that. They definitely had some instant like attraction to one another, but it was not like a super steamy book, but it was very, very sweet. But the next book in the series that I want to tell you about, which is the third book, The One Night Stand Before Christmas, this one was very steamy because this one, the first half of the book is the one night stand. Like they're going through the one night stand, like what happened, and getting into the next book, because at the end of the second book you find out that one of the sisters, Noelle, has a one night stand with Santa Claus, or a guy dressed up as Santa Claus, and that is continuing that story. You get to see what's happening for Santa Claus and Noelle, and you know, whoever Santa Claus actually is, and her finding him and them having a relationship. So this one was much steamier than the other one, but I didn't enjoy this one as much, and I can tell you exactly why. It's because these three stories overlap, so you kind of know that all three are taking place at the same time and you're reading them differently. And if y'all know, I hate that. I hate that. And it had been so long since I had read the first book that it didn't bother me in the second book because I didn't notice that it had done it. This one I definitely noticed because I read them so close together. So it was a little harder for me to read that, but once we got past the part where we were out of the one night stand, like I already knew she was having a one night stand, I didn't need to read about it, you know, like I didn't need to see it. Let's just see what's going on. Once we got past that, I was very invested. I liked their relationship. I thought Teddy and Noelle were really cute, and they were just precious, and I loved all these sisters, and I loved seeing all their relationships. I thought they were really cute. I really like the series, so if you're interested in a Christmas romance series, this is one I recommend everyone check out. I think it's absolutely adorable. If you are like me and you don't like the overlapping, maybe put some time between reading them. Maybe read one every holiday. Maybe that's a good way to do it, because I didn't realize that was going on, or I would have waited to read the next book in the series. But it was really good and I enjoyed it. I still gave it a 4-star because, again, I recognize it's a me thing, not an everybody thing. So then I also need to talk about her Vigilante, which is a serial killer romance that I started in October and then just had not finished, hadn't gotten around to. This one is a FBI agent tracking down a serial killer, and the serial killer is kind of like helping her, trying to like, he's the first one that gives her clues on things, and there's a copycat killer, and she gets in contact with the actual serial killer, and it's a romance between the two of them. So I can't tell you anything else. So this one got a 3-star for me because this was a very solid beginning. The beginning was super intriguing and interesting, and like I loved the concept that was going on there. But the problem that I had was that I couldn't tell if it was a romance or if it was a thriller. And like, if I would have had a clear distinction on one of the two, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. The romance aspect did not come in until the last 30%. And it just felt like the entire relationship was rushed and like it wasn't super developed, and it was just crammed all into like the last 30%. And I was more interested in the other concept that I was already sold in the beginning of the book. That was that on that part. It was essentially, I didn't feel like the premise was delivered as well as it could have been, and I wish the romance had been a more gradual thing rather than in the last 30% of the book. I felt like if we had maybe even started the romance like the first 30% of the book, like the first 30% there's no romance, and then at that point we start getting the romance, it would have been okay. I just didn't like the way that was thrown in there. It just didn't work for me. All right, and then the last book that I want to talk about is Hush by Liza James. This is a sapphic dark romance. It's the continuation of the Pandora's Box series, which if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you know that I will not shut up about Vibe by Liza James. So this is the second book. This follows Kay and Lip. I absolutely freaking love these girls. I love them. We have 2 broken souls, and like honestly, there's so many trigger warnings in here, and there is a lot of people who would not forgive the girls for what they do to each other. It is dark. Like, this is one of the darker books that I've read. Like, Lip and Kay have a relationship when they're children, so like when they're like 16, and I'm just gonna go ahead and be very blunt about what happens. Kay rapes Lip when they are 16. There's reasonings behind everything that happens. I'm not saying it's okay. She does not try to justify what she did. She does it, it's wrong, and they hate each other. Kay doesn't hate her, but Lip hates Kay, which is very understandable considering what happened. And they're forced to work together in the club. It still deals with the cult and all of those things that are in the first book. It is just hyped up to another level. I absolutely loved this one more than the first book. This one was absolutely phenomenal, and I am 100% going to be rereading this series in the new year when the audiobooks drop, because I will be buying those. I am absolutely so excited to get to hear Lip and Kay's story again, and I'm so excited to hear her name's Ara. I've been calling her Aurora. Ara and Ruby's story again. I love these characters. This world is absolutely phenomenal. And like, if you've not read Liza James yet and you are at all interested in a queer sapphic story that is absolutely dark and brutal and just absolutely gut-wrenching, but is still gonna deliver you that HEA, you've got to read this series. Like, I absolutely love this series so fucking much. Like, I don't get a lot of sapphic books that go this dark. Like, this is the darkest one I've found, and you all know that my favorite thing in the whole world is dark romance. So finding sapphic dark romance is harder than it seems, which it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And combining those two things that I love so much, because I love seeing queer women get to have a happily ever after, and getting to see, you know, a dark romance with queer women in it. Like, the combination is absolutely perfect. So if you've not read the series, I really recommend you try it out, because it is chef's kiss fantastic. So those are all of the books that I've read in the last, you know, 2 weeks, 15 days, and then, you know, those other 2 that I had added in there. So yeah, if you're still here, leave me a key emoji down in the comments, because I'm looking at keys right now. So leave me a key down in the comments, or a lock. I don't really care. And I will see y'all in my next one.
Yeah, this baby said that they don't got a future.